We're live.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? This is Talk About It Tuesday. I am your host, Bo Black. With me every week, as usual, is the lovely Lady G. Yo, G, tell the people who we got with us today.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back. It's your Lady G. The G Spot is a support area, gathering space for artists, creativity. We are lovers, we're healers, and we try to adhere to some level of social responsibility. Tonight, we have Chris joining us as usual. We also have Christina from New York. Say hey, Christina.
Hey.
We got Ria all the way back from GA. What up, Ria?
Thank you, Blue.
Z, lady of the hour. Z is going to be holding us down. She's going to lead today's discussion. So we are going to follow suit. Today, we're talking about women and we're talking about healing. Last week we talked with the fellas, got real candid, real, and today we hope to accomplish the same thing. So I will, before I turn it over, let me shout out these sponsors, y'all. Let me shout out these sponsors. So each and every week we try to bring you just the latest that we have with artists and different people that are doing things in the community and just learning from each other and trying to spread the love. So shout out to our sponsors here. We got T.Y. Little, the infamous Bo Black, Final Cut Multimedia, Protected Hearts, Clothing Apparel, of course the G Spot, and Another Quality Lifestyle. So shout out to y'all. And a quick plug, finalcutmultimedia.com, protectedheartsapparel.com, and shout out MilwaukeeBlack.org, Rick Banks, and all those beautiful people. So we'll just stop it right there before we get into all that. And I'm gonna turn it over to Z.
All right. So what I decided to do is talk about the definition of healing. Healing is actually the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. Tended to heal therapeutically or just heal. Healing from a cause, a wound, an injury, a person to become sound or healthy again. Healthy again is key, obviously, because that was repeated. Correct or put right. So that means that something's broken and it needs to be fixed or healed. One thing I really want to put out there and really needs to be emphasized is just because you don't see a cut, that doesn't mean you're not wounded. Just because you don't see a bruise, that doesn't mean you're not wounded. There's so many things internally us as humans have to heal, and we don't realize that there's internal things mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and also physically that need to be healed. So the purpose of this is basically transitioning from or catching up to what Bo did last week and saying, you know what, men need healing, but guess what? Women need healing too. So we can't sit up there and put all the weight on women. Men really can't. Because you know what? Guess what? We have our own bag too. So the purpose of...
I want to just share while you're talking, Z, that what we talked about yesterday with some of the statistics. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
So Javon has statistics and stating on mental health in women, and this is really key. And I think a lot of women have mental health issues and they don't realize how in-depth it is. Women are birthers of children, and they don't realize that when you have a mental health issues while you're pregnant and in gestation, guess what? You're transferring those issues over to your child. So your child is already having mental health issues if you don't deal with it. So as far as the PowerPoint that Javon gave is that there's anxiety. Women are 2 times more likely than men to have anxiety. So that leads to projection. That's very key because we project our anxiety on men. And then we expect them to carry that weight too. So is that fair? No, it's not. But that's a reality. We also have sexual, physical, emotional abuse, childhood trauma, adverse things, gender issues. And when we talk about gender, we really have to think about sexuality, lesbian, heterosexual, transgender. We have to think about those things as a child. We also have to think about the consequences of those traumas as a child and how that affects you as well. As far as other things, there's eating disorders. Those are things that are also coming from childhood as well. You know, sometimes a parent can sit up there and say, you know what, look at you, you're just getting fat. Okay, so maybe I need to stop eating. So then I'm gonna have an eating disorder. And then there's also the option of the other, it's not an option, but there's borderline personality. And that is something that really needs to be emphasized, because I think a lot of women don't understand that they're bipolar and they're also borderline. You going from 0 to 100, that really is not helpful sometimes, and it also doesn't help in arguments. You know, sometimes you need to woosah, sometimes you need to walk away, sometimes you need to take time and self-reflect and say, maybe what I'm projecting to that person is something internally that I need to deal with versus projecting that to that person. If you have a female, male, whatever your mate is, what do I internally need to reflect on? And then obviously physiologically, hormonal issues. I'm put out there, I have fibroids. I'm on extensive hormones. And when I say extensive, I go back and forth. And I'm talking about, I go from left and right. And sometimes I have to balance myself and say, you know what? I got to subtract myself from certain situations because, you know what? My hormones are in balance. Then you have pregnancy.
The last bullet point I'm gonna just touch on, it talks about just the fact that women face societal stressors, which are different from men. And one of the reasons is because there's this competing ideology that we need to be able to just be this perfect woman, to go to work, now that we're back, now that we fought to work, to be a good wife, to take care of the kids and be a great mother. There's just all these added stressors that some men don't have to deal with. So I want to get to the first question. Just kind of looking at all of this, y'all, and we have a diverse group of women with different experiences. So I'm wanting to know about everybody and kind of how it all plays out. Looking at it, because we have 3 areas: relationships, and we're going to talk about PTSD, and we're going to talk about healing. So based on some of the stuff that ZZ was talking about and some of the background of what it means to kind of grow up and being a woman and some of the things we have to deal with as adult women, looking back at your childhood and looking back at the experiences that you had, ladies, there's always been this idea of a fairy tale fallacy. So this idea of the happily ever after, and we learned it from Disney, watching, you know, the princess movies. Bo and Azizi and I talked extensively about this yesterday. What parts of your childhood played out in your relationships that you're conscious of? Anybody want to go first?
Ladies.
Prince Charming.
I can go first.
Go ahead, Christina.
All right. So for me, early childhood trauma was I was adopted. So I had a lot of a really deep need to be accepted that played into my relationships going forward. So I ended up playing like a very sort of people pleasing, lose myself in who you are. And how I'm supporting you kind of thing. And it really was detrimental to me in the long run. And that's okay. Like the adoption thing was fine. It worked out okay. But, you know, in the long run, but it definitely plays a deep role in even in friendships, not just intimate romantic relationships, but in how you allow people to take position in your life.
Wow,
That's deep. It really is.
Yeah. What about you, Rhea? Anything that you realized from your childhood that played out in your relationships as an adult woman, or even as a teenager?
I would have to say, what was that one? What was that? No, it's Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, it felt like that. When I was married to Q for all those years, it felt like, you know, I was like asleep all this time, and here he comes in and he kind of rescues me and saves the day and wakes me up, and and then I realize, wait, that's not how the story. This is not how it's going. Wait, something's going on. Wait, and then you go back into seeing parents and their family and their friends and your aunties and your uncles and all that stuff. You didn't think people argue. You didn't think they get into fights because no one says anything to anybody. Everything's always a secret.
Yeah.
They do fight. They wait till the kids go to school or they tell them to go somewhere else. So I didn't see any of that stuff. Like I said on Disney, it's like, okay, so this is what happens when you get married. Okay, so we live happy ever after. No.
Yeah. How many?
It's a lot.
And I don't know if you want to chime in, but a follow-up to that is, how crushing was that to you? And how might that be crushing to maybe a young lady, a young girl who doesn't have that kind of strong backbone to kind of know that, hey, this is reality?
The thing is, you expect men to be saviors, and you know what the sad part is? When they don't save you, I think it's like it's like Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and you're cracked. And you're basically trying to piece yourself together. And I mean, I can sit up there and saying that men use women as ways to compensate for the lack thereof. But guess what? Women use men too.
Yeah.
And for me, what I used to do is I used to hop from man to man to man. And it was trying to replace that lack thereof of male figure. And, not having a man telling me what it meant to, be a woman, I kind of was like, I'm just going to springboard it. I'm going to do what the heck everybody else is doing in high school. Everybody else sleeping around, such and such and all this other thing. And that's not how the world works. So I harmed myself by following what everybody else was doing. And eventually we pull ourselves back, like the universe, and we talk about this spirituality. It pulls us back to where we need to go. Because you know what? Sometimes we will put ourselves on the ledge. You could get HIV. You could get so many other things happening to you. But moving back along, I'm just thankful. Like literally, things could have ended really bad for me. Like not having the support system, and the universe kind of provided for me guidance and the strength to sit up there and seek knowledge, seeking a book, reading, trying to figure out what actually works in the universe, what is right and wrong, because right could be selling crack on the corner, or actually robbing from Peter to pay Paul.
So let's delve into that a little more. Thinking about right and wrong, and we learned that first from our parents. A lot of women have daddy issues, and the reverse to that is that some women have mommy issues too. Let's unpack that a little more. I know, Christina, you talked about being adopted. How old were you when you found out that?
I've known for as long as I could remember. I was young when I found out. I remember being in elementary school, knowing that my experience was different than the kids around me. So it put me in a weird position, like socially, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you,
I agree.
How did you view yourself? Like, what was your your self-image like?
It was rough. Oh, it was rough. It was
How did you identify?
I viewed myself as dispensable. So I was always trying to do a little bit extra to make sure that I was desired where I was, wherever I was. School, home, didn't matter.
And having that feeling of you say you felt dispensable, having that feeling,
I agree.
that combined with you being a woman as well. So how did that play out in various relationships?
Not great. I got into high school and I was so deep. Yeah, I was so deep in like this desire to be accepted that I put myself in really precarious situations that further traumatized me, like changed who I was going to be going forward, and put me in positions where like I'm now grateful that I'm alive, that I don't have HIV, that I'm not, carrying some other incurable thing or whatever it may be, and that I've children and stuff. So it plays a big role.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think not having a father either. I mean, people think just because you have a father in and out of your life, that's beneficial. I mean, I'm identifying with somebody that really, I don't know if he wants me today. I don't know if he wants me tomorrow. That really doesn't help you out.
In any family structure. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Okay, ladies, what about you? Daddy, mommy issues?
I know my dad was there from birth. My biological mom left when I was 2 years old. And so I don't have any relationship with her until I got to be 11. She came from America. She came to Trinidad, got me and my sister, who I just found out who was my sister, and took us back to Brooklyn. I was 11. I didn't know who this woman was. Really? But what do you mean, do this because I'm your mom? We don't know you. And we were very vocal. That's one thing I'm going to give my sister and me about. We didn't really keep too much to ourselves. We was like, but we don't know you. Pop in the mouth. She went from doing that to just abusing us. Stepdaddy there, touched my sister, told my mom, didn't do shit. Family didn't do anything. Did it to me later on. So it's like, I don't have a relationship with her now, but I touched that on my therapist. Was like, maybe the reason why I'm like this is because I never had her all those years. And then when I did have her, she was so toxic, so abusive, so nasty. And that's the reason why I'm so opposite of her. And Q just told me the other day, Bo, he said, you're not a toxic mother. And I was like, thank you. Because that's a big thing for me. I saw that and I was like,
Yeah.
So.
I personally don't, I'm sorry, Bo. You want to?
No, I was just agreeing with her. She's a good mom.
I absolutely agree.
So are you?
She doesn't.
Is he the one? Are you the one who told her that she's a good mom? That's great.
Yeah, I'm not toxic.
That's my son right there.
We always got to ask ourselves every now and then as mothers, But
yeah. She doesn't pass on. She hasn't passed on that generational curse from the Squire side of her bloodline. But she has passed on the blessings of the Huggins side, because the lioness who raised her, who my youngest daughter is named after, Mama Eva, Ma E.
Yeah.
She was a lioness. She was not to be fucked with at all. And I see the way Rhea has told me rather, how Mama E raised her. I see that in how she interacts with the children.
Yeah.
And that's very, very, very powerful and very good, because I used to say, I would wonder who I would have been had I had a mother like Mama E. Now, it's not to say that I love my mama now.
Mm-hmm.
I've had issues.
Now?
Yeah, we had that issue. We talked about that last.
The long story.
Yeah.
So you brought up something to kind of jump into the next area, and then I'm I know Z, this is something too that you was very felt was very important for us to discuss. The PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, women experience in various ways. And one of the ways, and I think that the slide even mentioned with the statistics, that women, a lot of women, how many of it is this here? 4, have experienced some form of abuse, whether it be incest,
I have.
physical abuse, emotional neglect. So show of hands for the women who have experienced some form of abuse here. Okay, so all of the ladies. In what ways did that abuse impact your mental health and also impact your relationships.
Oh, wow.
Rhea actually touched on a lot of
I she
she just went like boop, 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 and like shut it down. So, I mean, that's good because there was incest, there was don't say nothing, there was watching a hand burn on the stove to as a lesson to don't touch my stuff, you know. And for me personally, I would be like, I'm afraid of flames. Every apartment I get, you know what I get? the other stove, I don't do flames. If you have flames on your stove, I can't do it because it triggers me. And then as far as the impact on relationships, you know, I pull out. You know, when you being overprotective or I see you being abusive towards me, verbally, mentally, emotionally, physically, I pull out. I avoid you. I walk away. And sometimes that's not good because we talked about this on the other show. But sometimes I think as men or women, depending on what relationship you're in, you have to understand there's a reason why that person is not engaging. And you have to ask that person, well, what is wrong? Why are you reacting this way? Instead of being berating and being negative and then pulling on them, and then, because you're triggering them. And eventually what you're going to do is make them snap, and you have that in the back of their mind. So that's why therapy is very important.
Because I was going to say, is that good to put that? That's a lot of responsibility you're putting on somebody who doesn't know your triggers, who doesn't know exactly what you've been through. And you know, when you have a responsibility of allowing them to know who exactly you are, versus them having to, you know, people we put gates up, you know, for whatever reason, but you know, it doesn't allow other people in to understand who we really are, and then we get upset and we blow up and we destroy relationships and things of that nature because of that. You know, when does it get to a point where we're explaining ourselves, we're being honest with who we are to the world?
I think it's important to communicate. I think that's a broken issue in the community sometimes, you know, to communicate and say, look, this is what I'm going on. Look, I'm trying to heal right now. I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm not looking to have sex. I'm trying to heal me so I can be a better person for you. And being overbearing because of human nature, that is not helpful at all. Like, women, I'm gonna tell you something, and I know you guys know this because you scroll sometimes through the text and you be like, Kay, not today. Sometimes we overly communicate and we say stuff and it's like, I need you to hear what I'm saying. I can't do this today. I can't. I cannot give you what you want today. And it's just being receptive. And I think that's on the flip side for men too. You know, if a man saying, I can't deal with you today, and you all up in their face, then what you think gonna happen? Or you grabbing on him, what do you think the consequences is gonna be? Right. So just being accountable for yourself. And I understand when you say, well, that's a lot of weight to put on a person. But sometimes women, we will communicate to you. We will communicate to some men. And you know what? They don't hear it. Because you know what they hear? They don't hear what hear. They hear what hear.
That's deflecting. That's deflecting.
Christina, it looked like, Christina, you had a comment to what Chris had talked about.
Yeah.
Can't hear her.
Uh-oh, wait, Christina. You just lost your.
We need to hear you. We want to hear you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yay!
Awesome. Okay.
Oh, damn.
What is going on? Is it our headphones?
I don't know. It's Buffalo.
What's going on in Buffalo?
Word, it's Buffalo.
The war between the boroughs. The war between
Brooklyn.
the boroughs. Really, Bo?
Brooklyn.
Think we're okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we got it.
Don't move, because then that's when we lose you.
All right. I'm only trying to get 3 points out.
Okay.
Okay. Introspection, being able to recognize that you are in need of something, that you're in need of yourself, that you're in need of space, that you're in need of company, that you're in need of a friend or a therapist. The second thing is self-accountability. Yes, we do have triggers, but it is our responsibility to work through them. It is our responsibility to communicate them. It is not your responsibility to bear them, but to simply understand or seek to understand where maybe you don't. And then I think the last really important thing about healing is, wait, I think I lost it.
Introspection.
Introspection, self-accountability, and
self-awareness.
Self-awareness, and date yourself before you engage in a relationship. Date yourself, fall in love with yourself before you engage in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's real. That's real.
I'm so glad that my internet connection.
That's it right there.
No, don't worry about that, because we're going to get this out.
They're going to learn today, Hunzy. Have any of you ladies ever experienced depression?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
2020.
It's a whole year. No.
If you have, you have now.
That happened before 2020. Oh my goodness.
What? Do you want to talk about that? Unpack that a little more, Rhea? Or
yeah, we were going through a huge breakdown in the marriage. It was what, 13 years? And we've kind of gotten to the place of, okay, you know, I'm going down this road. I'm not coming with you. Well, I'm going down this road. I don't want you. I'm going with you either. So, you know, and then it's realizing my marriage is over, like years. And that was tough. It took a real hit. So I remember going to the therapist, and remember sitting there, and I was just like, ugh, I don't want to live. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home and sleep. Don't wake me up or anything like that. But slowly and surely, I got out of it with her help, of course, and me talking about it. So as much as a lot of chaos happened in 2020, I found myself all over again.
You
all that death,
it.
and all that pain, and I'm good.
I think one of the things that we take for granted or don't consider is that when you spend so much time and you have invested so much time in an individual loved one, and then it's cut short, it doesn't work, it's broken off. That's traumatic in itself. It's an ending. It's like separation.
It's a death.
It's like death.
It's a death.
It's a death.
Absolutely.
It's a process.
It is. So I think that,
process.
that's one of the things that we don't always consider, how it impacts everybody.
I have a question, because you had an identity with your husband at that point in time. Do you feel you had to reinvent your own identity? And that's on the flip side too, for both perspectives. Like, do you feel you had to reinvent yourself outside of that union? Because
no, not for me. I've always been. She said, what did she say? Put it up. She didn't say that. I've always been that way. And being with Bo definitely encouraged it, made it bigger what it is now. So I'm just a big monster on Facebook and Instagram. Just Rhea said that, just don't worry about her. Just scroll by her. Don't worry about her. I've always been that person. I don't know. I think now I'm not as rah-rah or quick to be like, what would you say? Because I'm way more laid back now because he's very talkative and he likes people. So me with him, I had to talk to other people. So that could be a real stress for someone like myself. And now that I'm not with him anymore, now I don't feel the need to kind of be like, what you say? You know. Now I'm kind of like real laid back and subdued. So everybody's like, oh, so the ending of your marriage has gotten you a better person, which is kind of weird, but I kind of got what they were trying to say. I get it.
Remember, I told you I was toxic, right?
Yeah.
I was.
You did.
And I told Rhea that the greatest thing that I feared was putting her light out. That light that made me want to be her husband. I was terrified of it being put out by me.
Oh, wow.
But that was one of the reasons why I decided I had to walk away.
You didn't want to dim her light because she was too bright. Damn.
Might have blinded me, but she still needed to shine.
What do you say after that, Bo?
What
do you fucking say after that?
He's so poetic.
But to answer your question, Z, I did have to reinvent myself because I wrapped myself around my family and my marriage. And then in the absence of that, for a while, I had no purpose. I felt like I had no purpose because everything every day was my kids, my wife, my life. Yeah. And then when I came to New York and it was just me, it was like,
yeah.
Really?
He didn't know what to watch. He didn't know any TV shows. Everything I watched, he watched.
Yeah. I was just, I had to read. And G, you were there for the beginning of that because that's when we met.
And I was, and that's the thing. We were trauma bonding, Bo. I had my own traumatic experiences. Talking to you was therapy for me and an outlet for me. I had one of my, the person I was in a serious relationship with, it's been 6 or 7 years now, but he was the last person that was very serious. He came back and he said, you know what, I've been going to therapy. He's like, you should go, Javon. And I'm like, damn, maybe I need to. But I saw how it helped him. And he came all the way back from that just to get the closure after 4 or 5 years, still needing closure. Yeah.
That is deep.
A quick comment in the questions. Roxanne says, it takes a real strength to break a legacy of abuse. Kudos, girls. So proud of you.
Thank you.
I think we talked about it yesterday. I don't know. Was you there, Rhea?
No.
Okay, so we talked about transferring generational curses and changing them into generational blessings. And I think it's sometimes easier to continue to curse than it is to change it to a blessing.
You have to relearn. You have to relearn a whole new way.
It is.
And it's tough when you have children. I say it's really tough learning to heal and have to do differently when you have kids, because I have to be the one to do it so they can see, okay, so, all right, so this is what we got to do because mom is doing it this way.
Yeah. And then when you get that break, you don't get that break to like.
And I don't get that break.
Time. It's always about them. It's always about them. And I think that's one of the woman's, her plight is that we take care of people. We nurture people, whether it be our elder parents, our children, our men, that we're always last until it kicks us in our ass when they were like, well, goddamn, look, I forgot to do this,
Yeah. I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that for a while now. It's getting to the point of like, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going here. Yeah. So I'm out. I'm not doing it, But if I don't like something, if I'm saying something, instead of yelling and screaming like I used to before, I stop. I kind of go real quiet, and they kind of like, all right, she's going into like her retro, old school.
Yeah.
She's going to shut down, and she's going to get real quiet. Let's go and see what's going on with mommy, mom, what's going on, what happened. I'm like, well, the bathroom is dirty, stuff like that.
Hey, if she starts playing Creed, they know she mad.
Yes.
Now that's
a trigger song.
Yeah.
Oh
You start playing Creed and Snow Allegra, watch your ass. I used to turn around, walk right out. I come in the house, I hear Creed playing, I walk right out that motherfucker. Not today.
Y'all about to get
Oh no, talk about Coldplay. That's
Coldplay, that's it.
Creed.
Coldplay.
Like Creed. Hey, hold on. That's
Coldplay, that's it.
Coldplay.
Was going down. You know, I had watched, I don't know what I was watching one day, and this one woman was like, you know what? How serious is it for the dishes to be clean? Because remember, our parents would wake us up at night, get your ass in there, do the dishes, you know, whatever, you know, like out so sleep. And I thought to myself,
on your bed.
I said, let me protect my own mental health. Why am I tripping and bugging out? Why is this a big issue? So I fell back, right? Oh, it's a double-edged sword, honey, because then it was like, oh, mama ain't tripping no more. So it's a fine line. I just want to put that out there. Fine balance.
Okay.
Does it have to be done at the end of the night?
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
when they come home,
You can't leave that shit in the sink, man.
no.
What about fellas? What about the trash? What about the trash?
Oh, I used to get my ass kicked for leaving the trash. How about you, Chris?
Shit, I mean, my brother, I had a brother, so you know that was always taken care of. That's yeah.
He like, I
We
just
both had to do
chill.
everything. We had to do all of the masculine things, I guess.
He looked up, he was the baby brother.
No, I didn't. we only get to we
Like that. And you just told us you looked up on not taking out the trash, Chris. I don't know.
I said it was two boys there, so all that stuff was always taken care of. It was never a problem. It was we shared.
You right. Yeah.
Wait, that's what I'm saying.
So it was always some balance on who needed to take it out. Yeah.
Boys always got to take out the trash. I mean, I hate washing dishes, but why boys always got to take out the trash? What kind of shit is that? That's some sexist shit. We got to look at that.
Okay, but
It's heavy. The bag is heavy and all that. You know, it's nasty. Then you walk in the alley and stuff. You know, I you know what? I got a friend of mine whose daughter was kidnapped after taking the trash out. Yeah, and luckily she escaped and everything, but they had drugged her and everything. They had plans. They was finna put her on the market. They had been going around. I think she said she remembered it being two other girls who was drugged in the car with her.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so that's the reason why we do it.
That's kind of wow.
There's real masculine and feminine roles, you know.
Yeah. Christina,
that's like the street lights.
Wow. Christina, if you're talking, I know she said something. Oh, okay, wow. What is your love language, ladies? And I asked you this because I think we kind of correlated that based on our childhood and growing up, that sort of parallels what we expect out of relationships now.
I took a test and it said mine was acts of service.
Acts of service. Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, wow.
I mean, how does that translate in real life? Like how?
I really enjoy cooking for people. That's about the extent of it, though, because my last relationship left me not wanting to do much for anybody but myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me, Queen Bee.
So you're
working, right now we're working just on cooking for people on occasion.
Oh my goodness.
I'll be sure to get up to Buffalo when I get in New York so I can taste that fine cooking.
Please do.
Oh wow.
They ain't never lied.
I like
It is true. That is a way to a man's heart. It's cooking.
I like
Exactly.
And not no bullshit Alfredo, y'all.
And to a woman.
Oh, yeah. That Alfredo.
Thinking y'all doing something, put some cheese on something.
Not the Alfredo.
If it's from scratch.
I tried it from scratch the other night. I did a pretty good job.
Christina makes it from scratch, so there you have it.
I can't believe you said that. Oh wow.
It's time consuming.
What time is it? DZ and Rhea, what is your love language, ladies?
I love touching. I love to touch. I love touching. I love reach out and touch me. If I'm walking, if I'm doing something, like, hey, you know, something. If it's a toe, my elbow, something. Yeah.
I can concur.
Yeah.
She said, oh.
Well, cheek, a booty cheek. Yeah, something.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah. All of that. All of that.
I'm done. I think mine's come, and I researched it from the last time we had a show when we talked about the love languages. I think mine's come from my past and the lack thereof. So mine is acts of service. So given to me, because usually I'm a giver. So I don't really get to take nothing. So if somebody gives something to me, like they give me a rose or a sunflower from off the street, I'd be like, oh my God, thank you. You thought of me. I mean, it's just the fact that you thought about something that simple. And I know it sounds sad. Like, damn, I can just pull her up a weed and give it to her. But it's just the fact. Because I'm always giving, and rarely taking anything in.
Do you not think it's that important? Hey, do you not think you're that important for people to just randomly think about you?
Do you know people don't randomly think about me or do anything?
That's not true.
I mean, and I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna backtrack because I'm gonna backtrack about 2.5 seconds of what I said. Because you know what? Javon has thought about me. There's been a couple people that have been shifted in my life. And I think culturally, not communicating that you're thinking about somebody or you're caring about them, I think that's a breakdown. Like, you know, if somebody, for example, if somebody is in a hospital and you're not calling to see if they're okay, bruh, don't call me and ask me for no money, no cash app, nothing. Because you know what? I should not be laying, and I'm probably talking about myself, but I should not be laying in a bed, hooked up to connections or whatever, and calling you and telling you I'm in the hospital. That's what you should be doing. Because you know what? Cash, when you need about $2.5, you know how to request that for me.
She go with her cash app.
She go with her cash.
Bo, you know, we talked about this last night.
Oh my
Don't sit up there and tell me you sitting in the line and you need $2.20. And I'm like, girl, $2.20, let me send you $20, because then I don't even have to worry about it. But it's just reciprocity. And I think that's an issue that I had a post today, and I probably about to get blocked again on Facebook. Hey, about to be in jail. But I said, y'all don't understand the exchange theory of a relationship. You don't take the time to understand what that other person wants or needs. You just assume that's what that person needs, but that's not what that person needs. What you need to do is ask me what I need. You don't assume that, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all this stuff for you. No, I didn't tell you to do it. And because you pushing your will on me, no. And then you get mad when I'm not impressed by your bands. I'm not impressed by your Beamer. I'm not impressed by all these things. But guess what? We roll it back. Guess what? You need to take the chance to know my love language. My love language is probably acts of service. All you have to do is sit up there and pick a damn sunflower or weed and give it to me, and I'm good. So get the fuck out of here.
She brought it all the way back to the weed.
I'm glad you kept it consistent.
Oh my God.
I'm saying.
Okay, so we got just a few more things to talk about. Support groups. Z, you mentioned that there may be, and I know we got some, hold on. I think some of the resources that we had from last week kind of carried over for this week too. So Z graciously shared these with us last week. You want to talk about them a little bit, Z?
Just for EAP, if you have mental health issues, you need a support system. If you're lonely, it's COVID. A lot of people don't have a support system. Call EAP. Call your behavioral health department. We also talk about therapists, also being somebody that's centered towards you, that's culturally appropriate to you. There's Liberate Mediation. There's also Mental Health Match, Sounder Mind, Anaya Therapy. And obviously, if you're attempting suicide or feel that you have suicidal ideation, please call the hotline or 911 or 211, and they will give you resources in your local community.
We have a comment in the chat from Josie, and she says that it's so hard to accept what you deserve sometimes.
That's a deep one.
Yeah.
Because you're so
a lot of times women are hopeful, they're wishful. You know, they see the best and that's what they kind of aspire to. And then get a huge letdown, right? Our expectations are always higher than the reality.
We talked about that yesterday, remember? The whole
expectation
fallacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
little girls, it would seem, have this expectation that a man is going to solve their problem or make their lives better.
Yeah.
Whether it be Disney or popular culture in any form. I believe that if we as adults, because they take our cues from us, whether it be men or women, I believe as adults, if we start teaching our little daughters, our little girls, self, to idealize self, to put self, center self in themselves, in their minds, in their goals, and their ideas, and make that the focus of their lives, as opposed to, I need to be this for some husband, some metaphysical fuck up that's gonna come along with everything.
Not a fuck up.
But I mean, if you're gonna put all in a male basket, 9 times out of 10, he gonna shit in that basket and then hit you with the basket.
I'm 9.5 out of 10.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Look,
You ain't lying.
Rhea and I got our little baby Eva. Eva is not trained to think of any man. Eva is, you are. You are beautiful. You are intelligent. You are smart.
Yeah.
You are talented. You are gifted. Everything is centered within her. She's indulged. And like I said last night, some people would say she's overindulged. But you know what I say to those people? Not a fucking thing.
And just to add on to what you said about that going inside and getting that power from within is super huge. And I think that adds to the spirituality that we see. And that can be a healing thing as well. And I will tell you, it took me to be in a really tough relationship for me to get to a point where it was like, okay, I'm about to kill him. I'm gonna kill him or he gonna kill me. And when it got to that, I was no longer afraid of death. And I mean, literally, I was ready to murder. It changed my mind. Life is too short. Why would I live in this misery? Why would I accept this? Why would I do X, Y, Z? You know, and even learning my worth. And then my children having to witness this. And then part of it was my own fucking karma. Can we just be real? Yeah. So
we do shit.
All of that. All of that. And accepting and embracing and looking at the ugliness, the realness, the truth, my part, their part, owning it. It sets you free. The spirituality, the spiritualness of that is liberating.
Mm-hmm. And just letting it go. I think that's so important. Just letting it go. I think we talked about it yesterday, is that, and I don't know if it's a man thing too, I don't know, but we're transferring generational trauma. We're transferring stuff that our children should not be carrying. We're transferring bitterness. We're transferring anger. We're transferring things that children should not be transferring. And it's like, who gonna stop this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who gonna stop doing this? Because right now, this is like an instant replay of 20, 30, 40, 100 years ago. Who gonna stop it? Is it gonna be me or my children or their children? It has to stop somewhere. You cannot keep transferring this trauma, because you know what? We're going to have to keep healing. We're going to have to keep healing. And it's like, even now with all the stuff that's going on, you want your kids to sit up here and deal with generational curses right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Somebody in the comments is saying, how do you stay cognizant to actively break that cycle? Anybody want to tackle that?
Let's ask Christina. She ain't said much in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that actually comes and goes. I think that
Yeah.
when you're coming out of untreated PTSD or other mental health conditions, specifically from trauma, when you start going through those healing processes, you start to increase your awareness, not only of yourself, but how you impact the environment around you. I think that sometimes we're very hyper vigilant of ourselves and of not, being oppressive to our children, or not being, tyrannistic towards our children. I think those are some of the ways that we release some of our frustration and anger and bitterness. And then there are other times when we're not so good at it, and we have to work through that with our kids. But one of the keys to breaking the generational curses going forward is that we communicate about those things with our children on a human level. Stop treating children like they're less human than their parents.
Yes.
Yep.
Big facts.
You know what I like to tell people? You're not raising children, you're raising adults.
Right.
They're only children for this amount of time.
Yes.
This little itty bitty amount of time is when they're children. The rest, most of the abundance of their lives, they will be adults. You have to raise them for that.
Yes.
You have to raise them for the adulthood. So you have to treat them, not necessarily like adults, but you have to almost give them the respect that you would give an adult in so much as their intelligence. One of the ways that I used to do that, and I still do, I never baby talked any of my kids.
Yeah, maybe. No.
I never baby talked.
Nope, not doing that.
No.
Really? You just talk to the little one like, yo, what's up? What's good?
Right. I did. I do. My children are like,
I sure do.
Never. I don't live boo 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 boo. No.
Oh my God! Wow.
No.
Any of you ladies want to tackle the question? Because I thought that was a very good question that Bo posed from the comments. Bo, you want to repeat it a little bit?
What, actively, to be cognizant, to actively break cycles?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a cycle breaker, and that's not a weight to carry. If you talk about a heavy weight, sometimes you think to yourself, you like, dang, I might as well just go ahead and be a hustler real quick. Seems like these hustlers is making it. And you just be like, but I cannot keep, somebody got to stop this.
Okay, what do you do to
You know what I do every day? And I have two things on my wall. Let me tell y'all my spiritual thing and what I do. Okay. I wake up every morning and I have prayer and I read, because this is how deep it is to survive breaking generational curses. I do my prayer and then I read my word. Did I have Ayana fix my life on Saturday? Did I have my inspirational quotes for the day? Then I go through and I have my affirmations that come through to me. Because I'm like, bruh, it's so quick to sit up here and be a hustler. It really is. I mean, because hustlers make it look like it's easy. But you know what? That's not what God wants for me. And it's like, even if I was which is most of what my family is hustlers, and y'all know what hustlers are, professional terms. And it's like, that's not what the universe wants me to do. They don't want me to sit up here. They don't want me to do this. They don't want me to do that. And it's like, I tried it and it didn't work for me. So it was like, you know what I got to do? I got to buckle down and basically be Wonder Woman, put on my armor and get ready to fight. And whatever I need to do, affirmations, spiritual things, I have to do it. I have to cut people off. I have to set some boundaries. Now I'm talking about clear-cut boundaries. Like, that's not happening today. Not at all. Because you know what? I know what my purpose is. You don't know what God put me on this earth as an assignment. So my assignment is not to sit up here and continue the legacy that y'all kept continuing. Because obviously that didn't work for y'all. So for me, I have to buckle down and I have to cut people off. And it's like, the hardest thing is cutting people off that you don't think you're gonna cut off.
I know for me, it has been just being honest with my children. It hasn't been pretty. They've seen shit. I'm not going to cover up anything. After a certain age, they were old enough to understand things about life. And I made sure I instilled certain things in them along the way. So it was cut and dry. And to know that I'm not perfect. I don't got my shit together. I didn't do it quite right, but you can. And I want you to be better than me. I'm not the mom that's going to be jealous and all that old shit. Do what you need to do. Rise above. Be better. Do it better. You've seen me. Do it better. So just the candid conversation, realness, and, you know, being their number one cheerleader is how I try to break those curses.
And I commend you for that.
If I can
I
jump
truly
in,
do.
I know this was supposed to be for the ladies, but I got to jump in here.
And then we're going to wrap it up a little bit. Go ahead, Bo.
What I've started to do to break my generational curses, because my curse was my judgmental mother. She was exceedingly judgmental, very negative in her judgment. And I passed that on to namely my son, more so than my other children, but definitely my son. A lot of judgment, a lot of bullying, a lot of fuck shit. So the first thing when I decided to start breaking that generational curse was hold myself accountable. I had to look myself in the face and see what it was that my mother was doing to me. And hold on, give me a second here.
It's okay.
I got you, babe.
Take your time.
I got you.
See what was going on and realize that I was making my boy feel the way I felt. I was doing to him what was happening to me, and I was already so angry about it. And I didn't want him to grow up as angry at me as I was at her.
Yeah.
So I had to hold myself accountable. I had to see what it was that I was doing. I had to look at myself in a way that I didn't want to see myself.
Wow.
And that was
and that's hard.
the most difficult thing for me to do. And I'm still trying to repair that relationship.
Yeah.
To this day, I'm still trying to repair the damage that I've done in his 13 years.
It's never too late. Yeah.
No, it's not too late because he's still talking to me. So I got a shot.
Yeah. That's good.
He's still talking to you.
I got a chance.
Any last minute thoughts, ladies, in general, about what we discussed, about healing, about just being a woman? And then, Bo, we're going to have you do your analogy, the seed analogy. You remember that one?
Yes, I want that. I really do want him to do that. I think to lead up to it, I think women need to really be conscious of how hurt they are.
Yeah.
And, you know, we really need to be honest, like, you know, I'm broken. I am broken. And I understand.
But a lot of us don't tell our story. That's the issue with I have a lot of women. You don't tell your story. You don't. And then the older generation don't say anything about their story. They just give you a piece of it. No, tell me a story. Keeping all of that happened to you with grandpa and great grandpa and whoever else had talk. What is this big mystery of what happened to you?
Exactly.
You know, when you were 10.
Scooby-Doo.
It's not like the CIA is gonna come. Oh, so you're the one who did. Stop with all these secrets. These secrets get us nowhere. It gets us nowhere. It just makes us, the other generation, become secretive. Don't say anything. And then you're 50 years old and for your mother who was 95 and now she's telling you her story and you're 50. Why am I not hearing your story, Mom?
Exactly.
You could tell your children, yeah, okay, they're 9. So, okay, you don't say every single thing, but you still tell them your story on their level.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They're kids.
Yeah.
They can tell.
Really smart.
Oh, yeah.
Way smarter than a lot of them really honestly give it. And they don't respect that. And I know a lot of people like, they're supposed to be seen, not heard. No. Now, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that ancient thing. No, kids are here. They have a voice. They have something to say, and you need to listen to them. Share your story. You're not going to go to jail. It's like, you know, But you have to be real. You have to be real with the men and the women in your family. A lot of people just keep everything to themselves. No, the same way how you're talking to the young girls, you talk to the young boys too.
Yeah.
They don't get an exempt because they're boys, and though the girls are the ones who can have babies. Yeah, we're limited with having babies, man. The boys, on the other hand, they can sleep with everything moving. You know what I mean? So just talk.
Speaking of the baby,
I know how to make a salad.
what about you, Christina? I'm gonna do Rhea right quick.
I just want to reiterate, date yourself before you get involved in other relationships, because you really cannot provide for another human being if you're not able to take care of your own soul.
If you don't like your own company, how you expect somebody to like you?
Mm-hmm. Bo, you want to bless us with the seed analogy?
Please, sir.
Uh-oh.
Come
All
on.
right. Broken. Imagine you're the seed in the ground, surrounded by darkness, hurt. When you begin to heal, you have to heal in the right, you germinate. You have to heal in the right conditions. When you break through to that seed, you're still in the darkness. You're still in that dirt, but you got to keep going. And when you break that surface, break ground, and you see that light, you understand that there's healing there on the other side. It ain't over, but just the beginning of your change. But what you got to do is get through that darkness. You got to get through that pain. You got to get through that hurt. You got to get through that ugly shit you don't want to talk about at parties.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get through that. Now that seed, that little seed, that's you. That little tendril, that little plant that's growing, that's your spirit. And it's seeking the light. But you will never, ever be able to see the light if you're not willing to go through the darkness.
So with that said, everybody step into the light, Caroline.
Deacon Black. That's the place.
We have to be light.
I cannot. Why?
But thank you, Bo. That was a beautiful analogy.
I love it. I love it.
And it's very encouraging. Thank you, ladies. Christina is a G-Spot fan, y'all. So stay on the G-Spot. Follow us, and y'all can always join us. We have these really good conversations, and Christina has been a added beautiful bonus. So thank you.
Yeah, super cool. Thank you guys. This was an awesome opportunity.
Truly loved your input. It was really informative.
Yeah. Sound like you was inspired by it. You do.
You really do. It's easy.
That was
sarcastic.
Now she's hyped. Rhea is being a parent in the back. Rhea, thank you, babe. Zizi, thank you. Christina, thank you. Bo,
You're welcome, guys.
I love you for
love
this
you all.
platform.
Be safe.
All right.
COVID-free.
Talk about it Tuesday. We'll be black next week.
Right.
Yes, baby.